It's been said that when you hold bitterness against someone, it's as if you were drinking poison and waiting on the other person to die. And this is exactly what we see in the book of Obadiah. Obadiah is written around the time of 586, 587 BC, in which the nation of Judah is headed into Babylonian captivity. And the book of Obadiah is a message to the nation of Edom. Yes, Edom, that they were the descendants of Esau, the brother of Jacob. And what we find is these 21 verses, only one chapter, talks about the strife between Edom and Judah. And what we find in this passage is God's heart of wrath against Edom. Now, why is this so important? Because as kin, they should have been the very ones to protect or love the nation of Israel. And yet, all throughout the Old Testament, we see that strife, that bitterness at the beginning, found in Genesis chapter 25, continue all the way to Numbers chapter 20, where they denied entry into the promised land by standing against them, turning to hatred in Amos chapter 1, verse 11. Edom became a stumbling block to Judah. Now, why is this important? Because God is going to list through this prophet Obadiah the sin that Edom was guilty of. In verses 3 through 4, they were guilty of pride. He says, the arrogance of your heart has deceived you. Then in verse 7, they're guilty of betrayal. They betrayed the very people that they were supposed to help protect. In verse 10, they were guilty of violence to your brother Jacob, and because of that, you will be covered with shame. Verse 12, they shows that they rejoiced in their brother's pain. Listen to this. Do not gloat over your brother's day, the day of his misfortune. Do not rejoice over the sons of Judah in their day of destruction. Verse 13, not only did they rejoice, but they were guilty of looting. Once the Israelites fell, Edom went in and grabbed a lot of their treasures. And then we find that they prevented the rescue and help that Israel needed in verse 14. Then in verse 16, listen to this. Because just as you drank on my holy mountain, all the nations will drink continually. And so they celebrated the pain and the mockery and the hurt of their brother. Why is this important? Because you and I practically can find ourselves in that. You and I can be Edom in the lives of other people that we should be protecting and loving and encouraging and sharing the gospel with, but we can take a bitter approach. What God ultimately does in this book is he shares, I will have my vengeance on you one day if you do not help and encourage and love like you are supposed to. Consider it. One nation taking vengeance on another nation because of bitterness, and they were the one that would be destroyed. God, who is holy, 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 instead of taking vengeance on us, sent his son to die for us. And Jesus Christ turned the tables and said, Father, forgive them. One brother, one individual who said, I will die for them. That's true unconditional love. And your Savior today wants to welcome you as family.